Ever wonder why your body sends you these mysterious signals that something's not quite right? Well, today I'm going to reveal 23 physical signs that your body is desperately trying to tell you about nutrient deficiencies, and by the end of this video you'll discover surprising connections between everyday symptoms and what you're actually missing in your diet. So stick around, because number 18 about nightmares is absolutely mind-blowing. Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Marc Sense, and welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into health topics that truly matter for your well-being. Before we jump in, I'm curious, where are you watching from today? Drop your city or state in the comments below. I love connecting with viewers from all across America and beyond. Now let me share something crucial with you. There are 3 main ways your body becomes deficient in essential nutrients. First, you might simply not be eating enough of the right foods, or the foods you're consuming lack nutrient density, which is a massive problem because unfortunately our agricultural soils are really poor quality these days. If you're growing food on soil that's essentially dirt rather than rich living soil, you might get a beautiful looking tomato, but it's going to be completely tasteless. Why? Because the flavor chemicals are directly tied to nutrient density. So we end up with these gorgeous looking vegetables that taste like absolutely nothing, and then you find yourself craving Doritos and other heavily spiced foods to compensate, when in fact those nutrients should naturally be present in your food. Unfortunately, farmers sell these products based on weight and volume, not on how nutrient dense they actually are. The second way you become deficient is through poor soil quality, as I just mentioned. And the third way is by consuming refined foods and sugars that actively deplete and rob your body of vital nutrition. So let's go through the complete list of signs your body is showing you. Number 1. White spots on your nails. What does that mean? It indicates a zinc deficiency, but here's the twist. It's not really about lacking zinc. It's about consuming too much sugar that robs your body of zinc. If you look at your fingernail and see this little white speck about halfway down, you know that roughly 3 months ago you consumed a lot of sugar or refined carbohydrates. Maybe you had a huge birthday celebration and ate an entire cake, which depleted zinc from your system, creating that little white mark. You have 2 options: stop eating sugar or supplement with zinc. Number 2. Oily skin. This usually indicates a problem with your body's oil glands called sebaceous glands that produce sebum, which is a type of natural oil. This typically occurs when you have an imbalance with androgens. You're producing too many androgens, which are male hormones. One really key nutrient to regulate androgens is zinc, so oily skin can be dramatically improved if you start taking trace minerals, specifically zinc. Now, if you're female and have too many androgens, you may have something called polycystic ovarian syndrome, and in that case it's coming from too much insulin because your carbohydrate intake is too high. Of course, the combination of sugar depleting zinc plus lacking zinc creates an uncontrolled androgen situation. So with oily skin, you simply need to take zinc and ensure your sugar intake isn't very high. As you can see, zinc is involved with quite a few body functions. Number 3. Cracking on the corners of your mouth right here, or cracked heels on the back of your feet. That indicates a vitamin B2 deficiency. It could also be vitamin B3, but it definitely involves B vitamins. B vitamins are extremely important in preventing these small fissures in your skin. If you have enough B2 or B3, you won't develop them. You see many people in winter who get these fissures in their skin, and that normally happens because they don't have enough vitamin D, since they're not getting sun exposure. Vitamin D feeds your microbiome, and your gut microbes actually manufacture B vitamins. So there's a direct connection between cracked heels and cracked mouth corners, which I personally experienced as a kid. This can be easily handled by taking vitamin D or vitamin B2 in the form of nutritional yeast. Now, before we continue, if you're finding this information valuable, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. This really gives strength to the channel and helps us reach more people who need this information. Also, don't forget to check the description below for our exclusive giveaway link. We're running a special contest on the channel that you won't want to miss. Number 4. flaking skin. You'll often see this around the nose or forehead where the skin has a scaling, flaky appearance. This indicates a deficiency of omega-3 fatty acids and occurs because you're consuming too much omega-6 fatty acids. The essential fatty acids our body needs because it can't manufacture them are both omega-3 and omega-6. If your ratios are off because you're getting too much 6 and not enough 3, that's what happens to your skin. It becomes dry and flaky with white little flakes usually around the nose or forehead. You need to do two things. Start cutting down omega-6 fatty acids, which means reducing nuts, peanut butter, chicken, fried foods, restaurant meals, and fast food, which are all very high in omega-6 like corn oil, soy oil, and cottonseed oil. You need to eat more fish, sardines, and cod liver oil, which will be the quickest solution to handle this flaking skin. Number 5. Yellowed eyes. This is a jaundice situation indicating a liver problem or possibly a gallbladder issue where the byproducts of your red blood cells are backing up through the system through the liver and into the bloodstream. The byproduct of these red blood cells has a yellow pigment. If your skin or the whites of your eyes are yellow, that definitely indicates a backup of the liver and gallbladder. This is usually a deficiency of bile salts which allow proper flow through the liver and bile ducts. If you don't have enough bile, this thickened cholesterol sludge tends to back up and you develop yellowed eyes. A simple remedy would be taking purified bile salts to open up this clogged drain and allow your body to eliminate red blood cell byproducts. Number 6. Chronic cough. If someone has a persistent cough, they usually have a calcium deficiency. A little calcium, especially at night, works like magic for these chronic coughs. Calcium both improves immune function and relaxes the throat and larynx, just like you might take it for leg cramping. It helps with something called laryngeal spasm or tightness in your throat structures. The type of calcium I recommend is calcium lactate, not calcium carbonate, and you don't need much, maybe 200 milligrams before bed. Number 7. Bleeding gums or swollen red gums in your mouth. This is a classic vitamin C deficiency. Another term would be subclinical scurvy or a very mild version of scurvy. In the vitamin C complex you have different components, and one part is vitamin P, which represents the bioflavonoids. They don't call it vitamin P anymore, but that P stood for permeability or vascular permeability. In other words, the blood flowing through your capillaries leaks, and if it leaks you get all sorts of issues including bleeding gums and nosebleeds. Bleeding or red swollen gums indicate classic vitamin C deficiency, so you need to consume more leafy greens and avoid sugar because the chemistry of sugar is almost identical to vitamin C. If your body has sugar present, any vitamin C you're getting from foods or supplements won't be absorbed because the body always takes up glucose before vitamin C. Number 8. Night vision issues. Let's say you can't see well in the dark, or you're driving in rain and having difficulty seeing clearly. This is a classic vitamin A deficiency or night blindness. Are people usually deficient in vitamin A? Well, around the world many are because they're eating lots of cereals and refined grains. They may even be eating plant sources of vitamin A, but those are precursors like beta-carotene, which isn't the active form of vitamin A called retinol. Retinol comes from animal products like dairy, butter, fatty fish, definitely cod liver oil, and animal liver like beef liver, which has abundant vitamin A. If you're trying to get vitamin A from plants, it's very difficult to convert that into the active retinol form. A really good source of retinol would be egg yolks, so if you want enough retinol, just eat egg yolks and you'll definitely get sufficient amounts and start seeing better. The other consideration with vitamin A is your ability to absorb it, because maybe you don't have enough bile, or your gallbladder was removed, or you have a liver issue like fatty liver. Then you can't absorb vitamin A properly because it's a fat-soluble vitamin. Number 9. Chapped lips. The cause of chapped lips is the same as cracking in mouth corners or on heels. It's a vitamin B2 deficiency. What creates a B2 deficiency? Either you're consuming too many refined grains that deplete B2 because naturally B vitamins, especially B2, are in whole grains, but when refined they're lost. One really good strategy is to stop eating any grains and start taking nutritional yeast. With nutritional yeast, I always recommend getting it unfortified. You'll get a complete spectrum of B vitamins and notice your skin improves dramatically. If you examine severe B vitamin deficiencies, you get conditions like pellagra, which has devastating effects on skin because B vitamins aren't just about energy. They help form normal tissue that's not roughened or cracked but nice and smooth. Many people use chapstick or lotions on their lips but find that maybe an hour later it's right back to being chapped, if not worse, because sometimes these products contain ingredients like alcohol or mineral oil which pull out key nutrients and fats needed to maintain proper skin texture. Number 10. Pitting edema on top of your foot or ankles. This is a potassium deficiency that occurs when you don't have enough potassium, or the ratios of potassium versus sodium are way off, with sodium too high and potassium too low. Refined sugar causes you to retain sodium and deplete potassium, which is why diabetics with high blood sugar often get significant swelling, especially in ankles and feet. If you push your finger into the foot or ankle, it leaves a dent. When I had blood sugar issues long ago in my mid-30s, I had pitting edema and didn't know what it was. I would press my ankle wondering about that dent. It was severe potassium deficiency. You want to start eating foods high in potassium like leafy greens, but you need large volumes, big salads to get enough potassium. Salt is okay as long as you have enough potassium, or you might want quality electrolytes with abundant potassium, which will push fluid out of ankles very quickly. Number 11. Craving ice. If you're craving ice, chances are you're deficient in iron. You see this with kids sometimes, and with females going through menstruation where they're losing blood and iron becoming anemic. They start eating more ice trying to get iron, but unfortunately ice doesn't provide iron, so you remain deficient. The best iron sources are red meat, liver, and eggs. If you can't eat those products, you can supplement, but not with iron supplements. I recommend grass-fed liver extract or even spleen extract products loaded with iron. Number 12. Angina, which is chest pain. This is where the heart muscle is cramping, having an attack, usually referred down the left arm. This is a classic vitamin E deficiency, and there are two things you need to know. What creates deficiency is usually refined grains like breads, pasta, cereal, crackers, and biscuits. When you consume those products that normally have good amounts of vitamin E, but when chlorine is added to bleach them, they oxidize and kill all the vitamin E. When it sits on shelves, vitamin E is lost, and consuming those products creates vitamin E deficiency. The most important tissue for vitamin E is the inside of your arteries, and without enough vitamin E you get oxidation and start getting clots, calcium formation, and various problems. Vitamin E is extremely important, so the best prevention is stopping refined grains. For excellent vitamin E, I recommend the tocotrienol type, not tocopherol, because tocotrienols work about 50 times stronger than tocopherols and are great for angina-type chest pain. Number 13. Leg or calf cramps indicate magnesium deficiency. Where do you get magnesium? It's at the heart of chlorophyll found in green plants. Again, we're coming back to salads, where you get good amounts of magnesium plus potassium, chlorophyll, and other nutrients. When you get leg cramps, you're probably missing magnesium, and they usually disappear with supplementation. There are other deficiencies that might cause cramps like potassium, sodium, or vitamin B1, but the most common is magnesium deficiency. Number 14. Irritability, excessive thinking, feeling nervous tension, even being grouchy or angry indicates B1 deficiency. If you take nutritional yeast when irritable, it just calms you down tremendously. You'll feel really relaxed and pleasant to be around. Also, before bed, if you have excessive thinking, take nutritional yeast, which comes in tablets too. It really helps turn off that excessive mind activity, solving all the world's problems, preventing sleep. It's wonderful to go to bed without having to mentally solve a million problems, so you can drift off peacefully. Number 15, asthma. Asthma involves inflammation in the lungs and can be greatly improved with vitamin D. If you're deficient in vitamin D, which most asthmatics are, it can dramatically reduce inflammation and help breathing. This explains why during summer months when kids with asthma are outside exposed to sun, their symptoms disappear. There's also a very important breathing method that can help asthma, which I'll link in the description, a specific breathing technique to pull someone out of an asthmatic attack within minutes. Number 16. Loss of outer eyebrows usually indicates a thyroid problem or iodine deficiency where you can't make thyroid hormones properly. When you consider T4 and T3, you're looking at the number of iodine molecules in that thyroid hormone. T4 is an active thyroid hormone while T3 is the active form because the body strips off an iodine molecule. If you don't have enough T4 or T3, you could potentially lose outer eyebrows as a symptom. If you don't have eyebrows or missing the outer portion, just take iodine in the form of sea kelp, which is one of the best sources. Number 17. Tightness in the right trap area all the way through here. If you have tightness right there, suspect gallbladder issues and lack of bile salts. Without enough bile salts, things get stuck underneath the right rib cage, and there's a nerve called the phrenic nerve going right up the right side. If you take purified bile salts, it thins the bile, allowing drainage, and suddenly your right trap feels loose and better. Tightness in right trap 9 out of 10 times is totally gallbladder related because you don't have enough bile and it's backing up into the system, showing up in your right shoulder area. Number 18. Nightmares. One of the best ways to eliminate nightmares is taking B1 or nutritional yeast. There's a brain structure called the amygdala which regulates the emotion of fear and is involved in fear response. Nightmares obviously involve fear, and its function is similar to adrenal glands, which are stress glands mainly involving fear emotion. There are receptors for thiamine, and taking more B1 thiamine really calms a person down, making them feel better, eliminating nightmares. If your kids have nightmares, give them nutritional yeast, but the real question is, why are they deficient? Because they're consuming refined carbohydrates in the form of breads, pasta, cereal, crackers plus sugar. Number 19. Craving salty chips at night. If your body is deficient in sodium, you'll crave salt, especially if you're exercising heavily and sweating, which increases sodium needs. One symptom of salt deficiency is craving salt, so if you're craving chips at night, the next day start increasing sea salt, not sodium chloride, in your diet. Start adding it to your food, maybe even putting some in water and drinking it until at night you no longer crave salty chips, then you know you have enough. For years I had this false idea that salt was bad and rarely consumed it, so I ate foods lacking salt and fat. Of course at night I was eating tons of chips, salty popcorn and Doritos, while during the day being practically salt-free. I had no understanding of nutrition or that salt wasn't bad if it was sea salt and I had enough potassium. If you're craving salty chips at night, balance your electrolytes by adding more sea salt and ensuring adequate potassium, and those cravings will disappear. Number 20. Stiff low back or low back pain usually indicates vitamin D deficiency, especially in winter. All you need is good amounts of vitamin D, or you can make your own, which I'll link below if you haven't seen my recent video. Vitamin D is one of the best things to eliminate inflammation fast anywhere in the body, especially lower back. I recommend taking at least 10,000 international units daily, and it might be beneficial taking it before bed or with meals, because before bed it enhances sleep and with meals it's better absorbed. Number 21. Craving dirt. Normally most people don't crave dirt, but sometimes kids do, or women menstruating and losing blood becoming anemic crave dirt. What they're seeking is iron, and even animals like dogs eating dirt need iron. The best iron source is red meat, providing the most bioavailable form versus consuming spinach. If you have anemia or need iron, red meat would be best, or liver with onions naturally. Number 22. Erectile dysfunction indicates low testosterone, which is a zinc deficiency. Zinc is one of the best nutrients to increase testosterone and handle this symptom. And lastly, number 23, depression. If someone's depressed, they're usually vitamin D deficient. Vitamin D greatly boosts serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter, making it like a natural form of Prozac without side effects. If you're depressed or know someone who is, just give them vitamin D and watch how fast their mood elevates. Another strategy as a side note is doing more fasting, which really elevates mood as well. Now if you haven't seen my video on identifying liver problems, I'll put that link in the description as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.